I'd like to say thank you to 1 Million Cups for having us today, and thank you to the sponsors as well. My name is Michael Penniman, and I'm one of the co-founders of Students Care, a nonprofit organization. And in the picture on the left, you can see we have Jacob Newcomb, a co-founder as well, and Peter Eastler. Just over 8 years ago, in January 2012, I suffered a life-changing spinal cord injury, simply horseplay wrestling with a friend, that halted my college education as a sophomore. After recovering, rehabbing, and gaining the strength, I was able to get back to higher education by attending one class at a time at DMAC near my home in Des Moines. Eventually, I was able to build up to 12 semester hours and felt comfortable enough to fly the coop again with a slight nudge from my parents and continue my journey back to being a full-time student, transferring to the University of Iowa in 2016, living by myself in Dirty Burge Hall with the care and support of a traditional home care agency. Unfortunately, though, traditional home care began to quickly fail me. My care schedule was constantly open, and I had constant no-shows with no communication, and this left me stranded in bed, unable to get the care I needed. My academic performance became the least of my worries. I was really struggling to live, and my only option that I was looking at was dropping out of college and going back home to living with my parents. When my care began to fail and I was facing this decision whether or not to stay in school, my fellow family friend and co-founder I mentioned, Peter Eastler, stepped in, along with his roommate and my brother. They became my support system. I worked and used my Medicaid state funding to transition my care to hire these three individually to work through a consumer choice option program. We began to hire more students that we knew, and I hired and trained them myself to provide my care. This change was amazing, and the benefits were immediate. I was finally able to attend all my classes, and I achieved my first 4.0 semester. More importantly, though, my health, quality of life, and college experience all improved. My fire was reignited. This is how the idea for Students Care was born. We saw an opportunity to impact and change the lives of students with disabilities, and how Students Care could be a new way for students with disabilities to find success through the support, assistance, and involvement of fellow college students. Now I'm going to pass it along to our other co-founder, Jacob, to provide some more details about why we started Students Care and where we're at today.
Thank you, Mike. That was great. So we, after, Michael's story and we got Students Care started, or he was kind of our minimum viable product, we looked into the statistics about students with disabilities, and we found out that Michael's situation is not unique. 17.8% of all college students report having a disability. And unfortunately, for those students, only about a third of them are graduating within 8 years. And that's twice as long as a traditional degree. So it gave us, that question: how does a student with a disability attend college and truly succeed and flourish there? So we created Students Care, and the main mission of Students Care is to improve the college experience for students with disabilities by not only providing the most reliable and responsive student-to-student care, but also by facilitating relationships that allow our clients to be involved in the college community and on campus. The customers for our organization are obviously college students with disabilities, both current students that are attending college right now and prospective students that want to attend college but may not know how yet. And we also like to highlight that the university is also a customer in a non-paying way. They do understand the value we provide, and they do promote the services to individuals on campus that may need them. So what does a college student do when it comes to care if they don't have students care? So right now, if you're not using students care, most students would use traditional home care agencies. Unfortunately, for college students with disabilities, the unreliableness and the lack of responsiveness are huge problems and pain points for students with disabilities. Also, there's high turnover, so you might have a new caretaker month by month that might not become accustomed to the situations that you're facing. They're also not primarily focused on educational success, and they are out of touch with the collegiate environment. As we're saying, they're not students that are providing the care, so they don't quite understand the same things and the same problems that students with disabilities might be facing on campus. So then how does students care come in and add value? Well, the first thing that we do is we meet with each one of our clients individually and we personalize a care plan for those clients. We also create a personalized care team. So each one of our student caretakers is only providing care to one client at a time. The reason we do that is so they're always available in case the client needs them at any waking moment, and so they're able to build and really foster a meaningful relationship that allows our college students with disabilities to be included on campus. The programs we offer are Medicaid-funded home care services. We also offer volunteer on-campus assistance and tutoring services. These really promote campus accessibility, allowing our clients to get out and do things on campus that they want. It allows them, like Michael was saying, to achieve hopefully academic success is what we're also trying to promote. The student caretakers could potentially be in your classes and work with you through homework and other assignments potentially and studying. It also promotes physical and mental health, and it creates a sense of community between students with disabilities and students without. Who are some of the key partners that Students Care partners with? We partner with University Student with Disability Services. So currently we're operating on 3 campuses, the University of Iowa, Iowa State, and Kirkwood. University Student Disability Services have been a huge partner for us. They're really the people who have been connecting us with potential clients and really fostering our relationship with the university. We also partner with Vocational Rehab to provide tutoring, State of Iowa, DHS, Viridian Credit Union to do our Medicaid funded care, student organizations, and ChildServe. ChildServe is one of our most exciting upcoming partnerships. Basically, they serve the same clients that we do just up until age 18 and until they get out of high school. So we partner with them to make sure that if students do want to continue on to higher education, that we can help provide those services for them. So what's our revenue model? Currently, we operate on donations, contest winnings through JPEG and other things that we've been involved in, and what's unrecognized Medicaid funded dollars. So that doesn't run through our organization, but we are the company that is facilitating those dollars being used. And then this summer, what we're working on is a new funding model to allow our organization to be both more sustainable and scalable. And we call this our stakeholder funding model. And like we were saying, the university and a bunch of other people, both the clients with disabilities and their family members, all are stakeholders in what we are doing and have benefits due to our organization. And so we want to move forward and pitch to the university at the end of this summer with our focus on getting funding from the university to operate on a year-to-year basis and potentially roll that out then to other campuses. We've also talked about private pay for students, families who do not have Medicaid funding, and we want to partner with other service providers who are also benefiting from our services. So now I'm going to try to play this video. I'm not sure how this will work for on your guys' end as far as if it will go through or not. So we will see. And if it's lagging at all, let me know.
I don't think the volume's going, Jacob.
Oh, that's definitely because my headphones are in.
Either way, we're going to post a link in the chat.
Yeah,
it's about a 3.5 minute video that we put together last school year, and it just gives a really good idea of who our clients are. It puts a face to the names and a face to the numbers, and it honestly really tells our story. So if you have a minute, we'll post that video in the chat. My name's Peter Eastler. Thank you, Michael and Jacob, for taking that presentation. and I will. I'm open for questions. So.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah. Hi. I used to work for a social services department with a local government in Maryland, and they did have a home care services, and my impression is that they provide services to just elderly, but it was within the aging and disability services section. Are most home care services, I guess, more geared towards an older population, perhaps? Did you find?
Yeah. So, I think the best person to answer that is Michael. From my experiences, that is typically the case. I think most of them try and be flexible in those terms, but on a college campus, it's difficult, I think, for them to adjust, especially at the University of Iowa when many of them are located in Cedar Rapids or, other surrounding areas. Michael, if you want to touch on any of your thoughts, that'd be great.
Yeah, and just the reliability and what it takes to understand the relationship that they need to have with the student, being on a timely manner, being consistent to be able to allow a student to flourish on a college campus, not just simply live and get up on a daily basis. It's more than just the care. It's,
Yeah, and I'll jump in and add one thing to that too that we noticed. Another huge thing that we're able to offer is like the flexibility. So all of our caretakers are on campus, so that's a huge benefit to our students because a lot of times, like, there might be a random thing that happens in the middle of the day where, like, maybe Mike he might knock his water off of his desk, and then for a traditional home care service, they don't have the flexibility to come from Cedar Rapids and drive 30 minutes to help out with that, whereas we can have a student there within 5. So we're able to make sure that then Michael can go on with his day and make it to the rest of his classes, and we offer that same flexibility to all of our clients.
Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, great stuff. This is Steve. Just a quick question. Could you just give an example of a day in the life kind of thing? There's so much that can come and be involved in the healthcare of somebody with a disability, as you know better than I. And then what limitations do you have on the types of care that you provide?
Yeah, so I can touch on that quick, and I think, again, maybe pass that to Michael for the day in the life question. But, as we were starting the organization, we kind of faced a lot of different questions as to, how are we going to operate, who were our main, target market and all that. So, do we ever really say no? That question's better answered. We really focus on students. So when we first started, we had, people saying, my parents, my grandparents live out in North Liberty. They can't find care. And as much as we want to help, our true value is recognized when we're working with students. We're a student-run company that utilizes the benefits of having students work for other students with disabilities, and straying from that main point kind of got in our head, and we didn't think that would work, quite as well. So, on terms of, what a typical day is like, I think a lot of people remember being a student, you could be waking up at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., or noon some days. And with the traditional home care agency, that's just not really an option. It's typically a pretty rigid schedule, 7 days a week, same time now, same time in the morning, same time in the afternoon, same time at dinner. And I can let Michael kind of touch on how his typical days may have changed pre-students care, post-students care.
Yeah, I mean, like Peter said, when I was using traditional home care, it was, when they did show up, set times, the caregiver was there to work from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and they were gone, or at night, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then it was just lights out. It wasn't, there was no real relationship. They were there to do a job, whereas when students took over, there is a relationship that you build. I mean, every one of my caregivers, I can say, is also now a friend of mine. And just a typical day in my life now, I receive about 7.5 hours of care on a daily basis. And so, like, a typical day for me, I have 3 shifts: morning, afternoon, lunch, and a night shift. And so, like, this morning, I have a student sitting next to me, came over, got me up at 7:30 a.m., cleaned up my act so I could present to all of you wonderful people, and then assist with breakfast and everything. Then they stop by afternoon for just a quick lunch shift hour, check in, see how I'm doing. And then at night they stop by and have a shift from 8 to 11 to get me settled and relaxed. And, you know, sometimes we hang out longer than that because even though the shift ends at 11, you know, we're friends, we're hanging out. And then additionally, like Jacob touched on, if I do have something that comes up in the day or a problem on campus, like I've, you know, crashed my wheelchair before, and there's students that don't understand how to assist me. And I can just, one of these on-campus caregivers is just a call away. So it's just such peace of mind for not only myself, but additionally, my parents now know that I'm safe on campus too.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. You were talking before in the presentation that 17% of students are with disabilities. Are you considering, or are you doing it already to promote this type of service also at like high schools, where maybe, you know, to attract, you know, there are maybe a certain percentage of people that don't make it to college because afraid of you know, missing a certain type of service?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
I can touch on
I
this
can
one,
take-
Pete, actually, if you want. So the partner, one of the things. So yes, to answer your question, we've been working with ChildServe, and we have relationships with the members of their exec team. And so what ChildServe does is they assist students with disabilities who attend, you know, anywhere from kindergarten all the way up until their senior year of high school. And so we're working with them to create some sort of presentation, or maybe we're going to come in and actually be pitching directly to their clientele and their students that will potentially go then to college. And yes, it also is an educational time too, for us to really show them that this is available. This service is available at college, at a university. Currently, one of our clients has told us that she didn't even know about Students Care, and she was not going to be able to attend the university if it was not for our services being here. She would not be here right now. And so it's scary to hear on one end, but it's good to hear on the other that we're filling that void. But yes, we do plan on getting in touch even more with high schools in the area. Right now, we've also kind of been just limited. We've been pretty booked up as far as how many caretakers and clients we've had. And so hopefully figuring out how to scale that a little bit more too.
Okay, thank you. Do you have an idea of what percentage of kids do not make it to university for this type of problems?
No, unfortunately, I don't know the exact percentage of people. I mean, maybe there would be statistics out there. A lot of the things that we've been looking at are just through customer discovery, and there are articles out there, and through talking to our clients. The pain point really is trying to figure out how to get to college. So that is a huge problem for them. Yet I'm not sure how many students are missing out on the college experience due to not having Students Care maybe available where they're at. But I think it's safe to say that there are at least, there are some students that are missing out on that.
Yeah, and that's something we're also trying to learn is, you know, how many students are looking to go to college that can attend. So if you know somewhere to find those statistics, we'd love to, you know, have your input. Or
Yeah, we know it's a growing problem. It's been kind of more mainstream news. There's been cases in Georgetown, Stanford, kind of all over the place of people really highlighting this issue. So we know it's an issue. Getting, you know, direct reliable statistics on it is difficult. There hasn't been a whole lot of research directly, aimed at this problem, but we do know it is an issue.
Yeah, you can imagine how much parents would try to research the facilities and support systems on campuses where they might be sending their child, right?
So and basically right off that, the communications that we have with the universities and with their disability departments have actually really helped us meet new clients, and that paired with, getting media recognition and stuff, we've gotten other universities in Minnesota and Missouri have reached out to us, whether it be parents at those universities or student governments at those universities have reached out to us, asking what's the process like to get students care to their campus. And, sadly enough, it's not the most simple process.
That's a two-folded part of your marketing. You guys have national press exposure written all over your idea. I can't imagine that national press doesn't want to pick up on this story. And so that creates awareness among the families who then go to the university demanding, do you guys have students care?
Yep.
So part of your marketing is brand awareness in the community of students who would need you, as well as pitching to the universities how they get to say that they offer this type of support.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wanted to really compliment you three. This was a wonderful pitch, and you all seem to make a very strong team. You all strike me as like very collaborative, good team members, and it was so easy to understand the value, and so easy to understand how you're different from the alternative. So that was extremely well done. I wondered if you could talk, if you could add in there somewhere, what would be the amount of funding that would help you get to this next level? And I didn't quite understand the part about your Medicaid is not a direct source of revenue.
Yep, and I can answer that first, and then kind of talk about what our future models are going to look like. So we mentioned that our Medicaid funding is indirect, and a big part of that is kind of goes to our core values. So our student employees, the employees that we match up with guys like Michael and our other clients around Iowa City and Ames, all of that Medicaid revenue goes directly to the employees. So Students Care's role is to help them become enrolled as a service provider, become a direct employee for the client. We don't take an overhead. The way this individual employee system is set up, there's no even room for us to take an overhead, and that's never been an issue. And that goes back to the core problem of why Students Care exists. With traditional home care agencies, the corporate leadership, the agency takes a pretty big overhead, which in turn can lead to lack or lapses in services provided. So that's just never been something we've really aimed for. It's been an idea we've floated to become sustainable, but it's a two-pronged thing where we're really trying to avoid sacrificing quality of care just for overhead. So to go to your initial question, we've floated that idea of having universities contract for us because we're providing them a huge benefit. We're working with our advisor, Greg Barkas, to put a number on the value that we provide to universities, whether we charge them by client we work for on their campus or a flat fee per year, or we have some intellectual property and app being developed that we hope to be able to license on schools to make our whole process streamlined, have a campus administrator at each school. So that number is up in the air. We're between 10 to 30,000 per year. It's something we really need to refine before we get into that pitch, but it's something we're working on this summer pretty hard.
Have you had a chance to sit down with someone high up in HR for the University of Iowa?
Yeah, so actually on our board of directors, we have several University of Iowa representatives, one of them being their chief risk management officer. So she is just great. She has a JD MBA, and she's, really gives us some insight into how the university may respond to a pitch like this, who to talk to, just the process that you need to go through to not just become a University of Iowa vendor, but really break the barrier down that has been in place for decades now of universities going against the idea of paying or providing any physical services because of, potential liability issues. So it's a complicated issue, but I think we have the people in place to really figure it out.
Yeah, and Gene, I'll touch on one other thing that when you were talking about, or when we were talking about the Medicaid funded dollars. And part of the reason too that we've stuck with that model is because what it really does is it puts the power in our clients' hands. And the reason we do that is because the home care agencies, when they're managing all the money, how does it really benefit the student when they graduate and they're trying to run their own care, maybe from their job if they move somewhere? And so that's kind of also what this process is we facilitate and we do schedule and help and pretty much do most of the scheduling, but we also try to teach our clients then about how that process works so that when they get out on their own, they're self-sufficient and they're not as worried about how they're going to set up care because they've seen how we've done it and they've worked with us in setting up and managing their own care. So we find that to be pretty beneficial long-term.
So this is Greg Vargas. It's really been my pleasure to work with these guys for almost a year and a half, and they have developed what I consider a minimum viable product here. They do everything manually. They take no salaries. This has been a labor of love. They put in sweat equity in this. And I think this summer, their goal is to really develop a financial model that will make this organization both sustainable and scalable. And but the good thing is that they provide so much value to so many stakeholders that we think it's just a matter of getting the story developed and talking to the right people. For the students, it's obvious they get personalized care that they control as opposed to some home health care agency controls. They have the response from parents has been just amazing because the value of knowing that their child is being taken care of in both for all of the physical needs, but also the kind of the societal and emotional needs is just so much better. Obviously, universities, there's an opportunity for them. This is a service that they want provided, but they don't have the capability to provide it. So finding, like Peter said, finding a way to capture that value and recognition on the part of the university that this helps them with recruiting, it helps them with retention, it helps them with graduation rates. And those are all things that are and plus it's just the right thing to do to take care of the needs of your students. So this team has worked very hard. They continue to work very hard to find that true go-to-market model. The demand is out there, there's no question. The value propositions are incredibly strong to a number of stakeholders and customers. So it's just a matter of time and I think knowing these guys, they are working hard in this summer accelerator to do that. So I'm very proud of it.
Greg.
Well, any other questions?
So if we're not hearing any other questions, I'll go ahead and ask our traditional final question here at 1 Million Cups Iowa City. What can we as the community do to help you?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, what our response might be to this. So, it's really just spread the word. I think, we're not, we're always looking for donations. That wasn't the point of this pitch. The point of this pitch was to get it out there, kind of to practice for pitching to the university at some point this spring. But, really get the word out there. If you know people that could benefit from our services, or if you know people that would like to get involved and would like to help out. I think that's as big as, of a problem that we solve providing the services. We provide a whole new world of opportunity and volunteer. I mean, an ability to get involved on campus in a meaningful way. I think a lot of students search for that. A lot of people search for that. So, get the word out there and kind of help us grow the idea of this. As Gene was saying, I think National Press would like this, but it's all just we're just looking for people to see what we're doing and spread the word. So
Very nice. And it looks like your contact information is right there on the screen. If people want to take a quick screenshot of that before we move on to community announcements, it's right there. So
yeah, and then feel free to follow us, like us on social media too. That always helps. I filled out the form for today, so I don't know if you guys have those links.
The social media. Yeah, go ahead if you have those.
Oh, I think I can add them to our 1 Million Cups profile, but they're also
Otherwise,
on our
it's
website,
just Students
so.
Care.
Okay. Yeah, and are they linked on your website there, the collegestudentscare.org?
Yep.
Okay, so excellent. Well, thank you, all of you, for presenting this week. It was really informative, really nice to hear what you all have been doing so far, and kind of what we're going to be seeing here in the next few months, hopefully. So